Hello, everybody. I'm CJ Miller. I'm in Shreveport, Louisiana, across the Red River from beautiful Bossier City, Louisiana. And not long ago, I watched this movie, and I feel like by now, all the people who really wanted to fan out over it probably have. I will try to resist spoilers. But the movie I'm going to be talking about is Deadpool and Wolverine, which is fun. Since the very first Deadpool movie, uh, honestly, not quite the first Deadpool movie, right? In Wolverine, which was the X Men Origins movie, that one, uh, it was kind of supposed to be a soft reboot of the X Men movie. It's the one that came after X Men, whatever that third X Men movie was, the Final Stand or the Last Stand or something like that. I don't know. Uh, where could you go after that? I mean, it was a good movie, but they really had kind of like that arc had been completed. So there really wasn't anything to do except for soft reboots, going back to X Men First Class, uh, X Men, Days of Future Past, that kind of stuff. Um, but Wolverine, uh, Ryan Reynolds played the character of Wade, which is the very first in movie, in the movie world, the very first Deadpool incarnation, and because he was mouthy, you know, uh, when they did his mutations, they turned him into kind of what you know. Gave him this genetic, whatever, that his mouth was gone, so he couldn't just mouth off all his mouthiness or whatever. And he was a very different character, very dark. You don't know what was they didn't explore what was going on into his head. Was he thinking smart ass thoughts? But you just had this sense of him just being very angry. Uh, the Deadpool character, who they didn't address as Deadpool, but that's who he was. But they called him Wade. He was the same. And I didn't make the connection, uh, the first movie Deadpool, until I saw the movie, and then they were like, "Oh, Deadpool," because I was like, "Okay." This wasn't a character that I was super aware of. I thought that the character looked a little bit like Spider Man, really, red and black costume, and but um, yeah. So we get to Deadpool, and he's now the Merc with the mouth, basically, as they called it. And ever since then, he would make jokes about Wolverine, you know, um, especially in the fourth wall breaks and all this kind of good stuff. That was kind of the asides to the viewers and everything. Kind of takes you out of it, but it kind of lets you know, hey, by the way, you're just having fun. You're just there to have a good time. These movies are fun movies, and it's probably the only way they could get away with some of the gruesomeness that they get away with in these movies. And I even feel like it's been toned down from that first one. I feel like the first Deadpool movie, uh, some of it afterwards, it's been like toned down. Some of the language has been toned down. Some of the violence been toned down. But I mean, whatever. You really couldn't go too much more uh, uh, above what they were doing. So, when I say it's been toned down, not by much though. Uh, anyway, all this time later, just recently, I watched Deadpool and Wolverine. Uh, yeah, I didn't watch it in. I don't really think about IMAX. I don't. If I want to see a movie that big, I sit close to the screen. You know what I mean? We don't have an honest to goodness dome IMAX, except for at our Cyport Center, and what they show, or they show like, you know, 35-minute documentaries that are educational, you know, and it's all over the dome. You lay back, and I would love that kind of superhero movie experience, but we don't have a theater that does that. So I don't worry about IMAX. If I want to see it on a big screen, I just sit up close, Uh, but if I had a movie that just encompassed my entire field of vision, then I'd miss, some of the movies anyway. So I don't really, you know. But this is a movie I would have seen in 3D. I didn't, but I would pay the 3D movie ticket price. So that's the rating that I'm going to give it. And that's probably one of the highest, um, you know. Also, because three dudes. Actually, it's mostly two dudes, but, you know, X-Men and Wolverine. And there's some spoilers. They get into the multiverse. They bring in the time variant. What do they call it? Uh, the time variant agency, whatever, the one where they monitor time. The agency from Loki. They bring that in now. Loki. Those were decidedly Marvel movies, and then Deadpool was Sony. And hey, yeah, I guess now I don't know, they've found a collaboration. Most of the cameos were Sony cameos, but there are, the subtle crossovers. Happy, from uh, the Marvel movies, is in this one briefly. Uh, anyway, you know. Uh, if I'm saying I would pay 3D money to see it, not even at a matinee, but like a big, you know, expensive time of evening, I would do that. It was a good movie. It was a good movie. It was a good time. It wasn't the best of the best, but I don't think this movie is going out for Oscar fodder. Although it would be nice to see the acting in these things. It's it's just as difficult. Sometimes it's even harder to play comedy than tragedy. It is really easy if you have a sadness, and humans, we all have a sadness inside of us. That's very relatable. It's very easy to get in touch with that, and it's very difficult. It's you almost don't have to have talent. You need to be able to memorize the line and everything like that. But usually in the moment of sadness or even hysterical breakdown, the only thing you need to do is feel, and we can all learn to do that on command. Like, just get in touch with that feeling. But comedic timing is different. I mean, you things just have to work. Things have to hit. Do you know what I mean? It's almost like stunt work. Like stunt work, when you're doing stunt work or blocking, everything has to go in, the way it's supposed to. It is verbal choreography. You know, the comedic banters and all the back and forth and that. And to do it, if you do it on stage, then you're doing it night after night, sometimes a couple of times. Uh, in a day, plus run throughs and everything. It can get stale, and but it's got to be exactly inflection perfect, and God, it's just not. It's not easy to pull off comedy, even if you're naturally quirky, funny person, just to work on that with someone else, to act in a character, and at the same time, there's emotion and everything underneath all the comedy. It's so weird to do it to this level, and I really wish that comedic actors really got the props that they truly deserve. But they, best acting always goes to some obscure art film, something that's, it's great. It's great. It lets you know, hey, by the way, these people can act, and they will come back, and they will do the winners of the Oscars and things like that. They will come back, and they will do uh, fluff pieces, entertainment pieces that are less about the art of cinematic acting. Okay, so but that's me tearing out. I'm like, you know, um, which by the way, if overdone, can turn into camp, which is, by the way, what happened with Faye Dunaway's portrayal of Joan Crawford in Mommy Dearest. First of all, the whole movie itself looked as if it were taking place in the 40s and 50s throughout the early 70s on film. The movie Mommy Dearest and the way it was acted and the way people portrayed and talked and the heightened uh, drama portrayed in the speeches that people gave and talked in that movie and the dialogues that were exchanged and everything. Uh, it seemed theatrical. It seemed, and I'm not talking about just Faye Dunaway's portrayal, but I'm saying everybody in that movie played it as if they were doing a stage play rather than a movie, or played it as if they were in a movie from the golden era instead of what it must have looked like in real life, these exchanges. And I'm a pretty dramatic person. Sometimes I'm pretty sometimes I'm pretty boring. Sometimes I'm pretty draining. It depends upon the mood. It could be a lot to take. It could be a lot to take sometimes, but it's probably why I'm single. But uh, what can I say? Yeah, that movie. It would have been. Yeah, well, I'm mentioning that because it is a good movie, but because it was told through the book written, and Christina Crawford has said that she wrote the book from the perspective of a young girl, a little girl, you know, uh, trying to relate to the mother. Uh, so when you're a child, everything grown up is big and monumental and giant, and everything does seem uh, exaggerated from the reality as you're trying to reconcile your small self with the true perspective of the world. And the problem is the audience that went to see that movie. I saw it as a kid, but really most of the audience would be looking at it from uh, the perspective of a young adult or adult or a fan of Joan Crawford. So you have adults trying to relate to these characters through the perspective of a young girl, and it got lost in translation, and so everybody thought of it as child play acting campiness, over the top, really super melodrama, where everybody was played one dimensional. Even Faye Dunaway playing the character of Joan Crawford, that was kind of a one-dimensional. Even though it's just because it was basically she was not portraying Joan Crawford, she was portraying Christina Crawford's girlhood perspective, her memory of Joan Crawford. And that's what people really lose in all the criticism of that movie. But I bring that up to say that comedic acting and even the dramatic acting that takes place with the Deadpool, which basically Deadpool has his movies has dramatic moments, tender moments, but the uh, the drama is played as comedy, and some of the comedy here is played as deadpan straight. So Deadpool, but it's Ryan Reynolds. He is. This is a part he does well. Uh, comic books, you gotta have wisecracking with the characters and stuff like that. And some of the guys, you cracking wise, but the mafia guy, you're not cracking wise, are you? But anyway, yeah. Uh, Let me just get back into talking about the movie. Uh, 3D for the three dudes: Deadpool, Wolverine, and spoiler alert, Johnny Storm in a very brief appearance. And yeah, Chris Evans uh, as Johnny Storm was my favorite at the time, and for a while, my favorite comic book character. I remember being a little boy, real little, like 6, 7 years old, just seeing the old Fantastic Four cartoons as they were replaying or whatever, and all I could see was the four. I could recognize the four. Here's the four. I really wasn't following the story too long. I knew there was a man that looked like Plastic Man. Because Plastic Man was a popular Saturday morning cartoon at the time. Knew there was a man that looked like Plastic Man that he could stretch. I didn't follow the girl, and there was this big rock-looking thing. I didn't quite understand it, but I'll tell you who I did understand: Johnny Storm turning into the Human Torch. Lame names, by the way, but whatever. I think the whole idea is that it wasn't it let itself be a little bit lame. They're redoing the Fantastic Four, by the way, and Doctor Doom is supposed to be a huge, big thing in the next Marvel phase, as it kind of merges with Sony or crosses with Sony. I don't know with their behind the scenes with where I don't know how to follow the money on that, but it's interesting to think about. But yeah, Johnny Storm, Chris Evans plays Johnny Storm, and it's so funny because uh, at first, you have Ryan Reynolds as Deadpool, but he's like fourth walling, sort of like, hey, yeah, finally we got a guy, and then, Captain America. Right around the time he thinks that he's about to see, Chris Evans pull off some Captain America, he's like, flame on, or whatever, and he's like, what the hell, and yeah. It's not a big chunk in the movie, uh, but it's for me one of my most favorite parts. I really liked Chris Evans as the Human Torch. I can say out of all the Marvel movies and Sony movies or anything based on Marvel comics, even better than Spider Man. For you X Men people, even better than Wolverine. I liked Johnny Storm as the Human Torch. Yeah, played by Chris Evans. Uh, and another one that I liked, I feel like I would have liked to see more of, would have been Iceman from the X Men movies, the first three movies. Uh, but hey, he really didn't have a big part in that first X Men movie. A little bit more in the second, and then by the time the third comes around, it's like he's clashing, with his counterpart who's joined Magneto and the Bad Mutants. If you want to go back and check those out, but um, he was a younger version of Iceman, but the Iceman that I remember was from a cartoon called Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends. There was Firestar; she would turn into the flame, and then you had Iceman. So, uh, no doubt, because even if they didn't intend to, uh, I looked at Iceman with kind of a boyhood crush of a cartoon character. because hey, that's just the way I'm wired. You know what I'm saying? And uh, I have no idea. I have no idea why, but I've always had crushes on boys. I don't care. Put it like this: I don't care if it's nurture or nature. You know, about this kind of thing. I don't really, because it's not that big of a deal to me anymore. When I was a kid, I had to wear that worry around, that burden of, oh my God, I feel okay, but everybody else is gonna think that I'm wrong and they're gonna shun me for this. You know, and I knew that, and there was some of that when I first, just let it go, let it, I think I think I had some preemptive issues. Like I think that fear of coming to talk about things like that. Like I wanted to date people. I wanted to date, and I wanted to bring them around, and I wanted to be accepted, and I didn't want to be, I didn't want there to be that source of shame and outcast from my family and everything like that. That there can be some of that, even in the most accepting of families, there can always be that little undercurrent of, I wonder if, from the parent's point of view, I wonder if there's something that I've done wrong or that I could have done different. Because even if there's nature involved with this, there's also nurture involved with this. Whatever, who cares anymore? But whatever. There's always that little sense of, would they be better if I had done better? That kind of thing. Uh, Maybe it's going to be. And let me just say, don't worry about it. Families today, kids, whatever. Do you be who you are? Accept your loved ones for who they are. Don't put this burden on them. Don't have them be like, yeah, because when underneath all that, my reaction was to kind of go uh, a little wild for a few years, which happens anyway. Especially young men, our brains don't develop fully until we're in our mid 20s anyway. Like on the latter part of that mid 20s, if we're slower to develop in some kind of ways. And I'm talking about the frontal occipital, the stuff. That's why they give so many people lobotomies back in the day. Gave them the lobotomies and the shock treatments and everything like that. I don't know. Uh, and it's not because they're wired wrong. It's because they're still developing, right? So anyway, my preemptive to battling the fear that I foretold to myself that was going to happen. Because even when I would just kind of like hint about it or even come close to broaching it, some of my family would be like, have a heart attack. I mean, and I'm not going to talk about which ones or anything because that's not important. The important thing is that I had reason to believe that that's something that I really just needed to not talk about just at that time, even though I knew it. So uh, it came out in different ways, like me running around trying to find connection with less healthier uh, people, you know, which led to uh, some mistakes that kind of, have these little moments that kind of change the course of the way things are going to go, and you don't change them back. There are some times when you just get completely turned derailed from what you think is going to happen, that basically the only way to get to A to Z is not through the alphabet. You got to throw a few numbers in there. You know what I mean? You got to throw a few uh, commas and exclamation points and dashes and periods and quotations and parentheses. You don't just go from A to Z. You got to use all the keys of the typewriter. Basically, if it's, I like analogies. Mm. That was but that was my truth, and I did have crushes on good-looking guys. And Iceman, I had a crush on the dude. Basically, he would turn into ice, and he was basically naked. And they drew on little ice-colored underwear, but it was the same color as the rest of his body, and it was like, I'm a fucking you know. So, uh, and don't get me, it's not like I haven't had exposure to like nude women to compare. You know what I mean? Like whatever. You know, we had cable. You know, like I had a sexual awareness. I just had a strong preference for the male physique. You know, so what else? What else? What else? What else? Iceman is a good character, but my favorite, uh, Johnny Storm, you know, and he's in Deadpool and Wolverine. I could just end the video here because I would, you know, but no, it's a good movie. You know, daughter of Magneto, not the Scarlet Witch, but another one. Maybe a. She has some things in common. I mean, she has the control of metal. Let me just do a. No, I'm gonna. You know, I don't want to spoil it too much. I will say she has a little bit of mind control, such as Scarlet Witchy. Is she Meg? Yeah, I don't. Anyway, yeah, because I think she can mesmerize people and control metal. So is she a variant of the Scarlet Witch, or is she not? Mm. There is a scene in this movie, and it's foretold early in the movie, or foreshadowed early in the movie, about uh, a league of Deadpools from the different Deadpool variants that all get thrown into this spot, and so they form like a group of Deadpool or whatever, and they're the ones to watch out for, and their scenes, and you can see the videos. And in that scene, we get uh, one of the most awesome throwback songs ever. Life is a mystery. Everyone must stand alone. I hear you call my name, and it feels like home. When you call my name, it's like a little prayer. Down on my knees, I wanna take you there. In the midnight hour, I can feel your power, just like a prayer. You know I'll take you there. I hear your voice, it's like an angel sighing. I have no choice, I hear your voice. Feels like flying. I close my eyes, oh God, I think I'm falling out of the sky. I close my eyes. Heaven help me. When you call my name, it's like a little prayer. I'm down on my knees, I wanna take you there. In the midnight hour, I can feel your power, just like a prayer. You know I'll take you there. Like a child, you whisper softly to me. You're in control, just like a child. Now I'm dancing, it's like a dream. No end and no beginning. You're here with me, it's like a dream. Let the choir sing. When you call my name, it's like a little prayer. Down there in the midnight hour. I can feel your power, just like a prayer. You know I'll take you there. Okay, so anyway, I don't have all the backing choir and everything. This I should have looked at this page a little closer. Some of the lyrics are a little jumbled, so I got confused there. Like they're I don't know. A couple of them are like misplaced, so I kind of got a little lost as I was reading along. But that's okay. The song in this movie is freaking phenomenal. First of all, it's coming through like powerful speakers and it's big and everything that the song should be. The song almost is a character in the movie. That's how, it's just great. So, Ryan Reynolds, uh, I did not realize he was in a Canadian teen soap opera called 15, and I recently stumbled across a little bit of it, and then he did some stuff on TV here in the 90s. What was that? I don't know. Was it? I want to say Freaks and Geeks, but that was uh, not. That was. Let's see. Not him. I think that was James Franco. But let's see, or something. Let's see. I'll tell you. I'm gonna have to Google it. He was. Yeah. He. Ryan Reynolds. We'll look at his. We'll look at his credentials. Uh, but yeah, it was like you could tell because I was watching that thing from the 15. It was 15, like 1 5 15. The Canadian. You, anyway. Yeah, the acting was stiff, but clearly, what I was watching, Ryan Reynolds was going to be the breakout talent, you know. And I feel that there's no shame in having uh, just an honest acknowledgement of one's ability. I like to say that a bird is not bragging when it flies. And like other animals aside from small reptiles or whatever. I mean, don't fly, but a bat maybe. But like when a bird flies, it's not bragging. It's an eagle is not pretending to be grand and massive. So yeah, that movie he played a character Billy Simpson that TV show in 15, and actually is the word 15, FIFTEEN. Okay, and then some TV stuff. Ordinary Magic. I don't know what that's about. 1993. I'm interested. I'm gonna check that out real quick. Whatever. Looks like it might actually suck. Never mind. Um, uh, but I want to get back and I want to see about some of the show that used to see him on, and I wasn't like a regular viewer, but it's at the forefront of my mind. Uh, I don't know. I'm going to do a lot of back scrolling to see what's up. Let's see. Uh, he's been in so much shit. Okay. Blade Trinity. He was in that. That was his first Marvel character as a. Let's see. I don't know if he was based on a character from the comic books or if he was just in that, but it would be neat. When you're merging all these things. Let's see. Uh, Lonesome Dove, The Outlaw Years, really? Episode of the X Files. Uh, I'm trying to find out. Where was it that I used to see him? Here it is. Two guys, a girl, and a pizza place. So that's it. And I didn't watch that show all the time. Uh, but it would have been, yeah, sitcom fodder. It was 81 episodes, but it kind of got like, uh, I don't know, there's a lot of stuff going on. I have no idea. What year was that? Years, I should say. No, what was I doing? 1998 through 2001. No wonder I didn't pay attention to this. At the end of 1998 or whatever, I was in New Orleans and I worked there for a while. And shortly after, I went to Miami, Florida, actually a little town called Homestead in Miami-Dade, just the south part, like right at the edge of the Everglades, um, like just not too far before you get to the Keys. As a matter of fact, I really should go back and visit. It's been a zillion years. Um, hyperbole. But I don't want to talk about how many years it really has been. I don't want to disclose my age right now. You regular viewer, you'll figure it out. I'm old as dirt. But anyway, well, yeah, I'm made out of dirt. We all are clay and stuff. So anyway, and a lot of hot air. And yeah, probably used to be cooler air until like I inhaled it, and then it became body temperature, which is pretty hot, 98 degrees. There's 98 degrees outside. I'm burning up. Okay, so two guys, a girl, in a pizza place. Yeah, I was partying my ass off. I really couldn't give uh, much thought about television at all. You know, that's why I couldn't think of the name. But anyway, yeah. Um, he was a major talent and was always going to be kind of a star, kind of a breakout. And the one that really got me, uh, Van Wilder, but kind of a, it's kind of a guy that you're not going to get a straight answer out of anytime you ask a guy something. And that's kind of the person I was when I was like a teenager. I wasn't nearly that physically attractive, but yeah, I can understand how annoying I was because I didn't have the charm. I just had like the smart assery, the sarcasm, and at some point, boy, I got. Ugh, I don't know. A lot of psychology. I don't want to do that. But it was a good movie. This was a good movie. Ryan Reynolds was enjoyable. Now let's get into the Wolverine part. Hugh Jackman comes back as Wolverine. He comes back as probably the worst variant of Wolverine. So this is a variant who's in need of redemption. Is that not like they're like this is the worst Wolverine? I have seen Wolverine in many X-Men related movies, and he is always in need of redemption. He has always fucked up at the start of the movie. Something has happened, he's fucked up, and he's needed some redemption. And in that sacrifice and in that redemption, he has great personal loss that leaves him lonely and alone all over again. It's not, this really isn't, I'm surprised. Why didn't Deadpool pick up on that? They dropped that. That's the one thing they dropped the ball on. As I'm sitting here talking about it, if I were looking at the script, that'd be the one thing. Well, he's the worst Wolverine ever. He is. And I'd be like, yeah, but isn't he always a fuck up? He saves the day, but he's not a hero. He's an anti-hero. Doesn't he always fuck up? Uh, kind of the same narrative that Deadpool has. But they really, out of all the fourth wall and all the oblivious. I mean, the obvious, pointing out that the irony, the oh, isn't this such and such, all that they really just don't do, like, what else is new? He's a fuck up, So am I, or whatever. The Deadpool would, in his fourth wall thing. But that is the story of Wolverine. Just about every Wolverine movie starts at a very low point, and he's got to go through this whole like redemption. Even the Logan movie, he had to fight, like, I think, a younger variant of himself or something at some point. I think, I don't know. It's been a while. What was that one? Okay, anyway, but yeah. Uh, so it's like, because at one point he like brings them back to the time authority, the Tiberian authority or something like that, where they're, and it's like, you know, um, the guy's like, I would have accepted your proposal with any other Wolverine except for this one. This one's the worst of the worst. And it's like, wait, no, doesn't doesn't he always begin his story or his narrative uh, being that kind of a that with that kind of a mess up, where just everything just seems a complete hopeless state, and then you got to find your way to a redemption, a point of redemption or something. I mean that's the Wolverine narrative. Okay. So, but that's the Wolverine experience that we go to movies for when we go see a Wolverine movie. Damn. Johnny Storm. Flame on. Love and light. Peace. Good night.